people who think the electric car is the savior of all mankind, and gentlemen. This particular video is going to focus on the electric car and the umpteenth push to make the electric car a reality, and right now the Chevy Volt is trying to fulfill that promise. But my major contention in this video is, 1, the Chevy Volt is neither affordable, and 2, it's not actually an electric car anyways. It's just an overglorified hybrid. And again, I'll have all the links underneath. Peruse them at your leisure. Barron's reports that with a federal subsidy, the Volt's price could be as low as $33,500 after a $7,500 tax subsidy financed by the American taxpayer under President Obama's stimulus bill. That might sound a bit more affordable, but the subsidy masks the true $41,000 cost. If you contrast with other new offerings, take the highly fuel-efficient $13,320 Ford Fiesta, for example. That's a steep price. Independent research verifies the cost concerns. A 2009 study by Carnegie Mellon University comparing the effectiveness of vehicles powered by large plug-in batteries and those powered by small plug-in batteries and conventional hybrid engines found that the lifetime costs of the small battery vehicles with ranges similar to the new Prius line were lower than those of their large battery counterparts under every tested scenario. The study also found that the largest battery tested, which offered a range of 60 miles per charge, that's at least 10 more than the Volt, actually produced 10% more greenhouse gases than a battery with a range of only 7 miles when regular recharging was possible, as would be expected with urban driving. Toyota has come to a similar conclusion about overall pollution. Quote, keeping the battery as small as possible is not just a cost issue, it's a total greenhouse gas issue, said John Hansen, Toyota's National Manager of Environment, Safety, and Quality Communications. He also added, quote, the environmental effect of producing and charging the batteries as well as their additional weight has to be considered, unquote. Apart from the government offering tax incentives, which come from the pockets of other taxpayers, of course, to encourage you to buy these electric pieces of garbage, the U.S. government has also shelled out $2.4 billion in grants for advanced battery and vehicle manufacturing. In January, the Department of Energy awarded $118.5 million matching grant to Ener1, a lithium battery company, to build a battery factory near Indianapolis. In addition, Ener1 was awarded a state incentive package of $21.3 million and a Hancock County package valued at $48.6 million. Ener1 has also applied for a $300 million low-interest loan from the DOE's Advanced Technology Vehicles Manufacturing Loan Program to build out additional manufacturing capacity. The government may be a major consumer of those vehicles, and it may foot the bill for creating infrastructure needed to charge them. The kicker, even with all that money being spent, electric cars may not succeed, and they won't, of course. And also, this Chevy Volt, it requires premium gasoline, seats only 4 people. The battery runs down the center of the car, preventing a rear bench, and has less head and leg room than the $17,000 Chevrolet Cruze, which is more or less the non-electric version of the Volt. And as I said, the Volt's not even electric anyway. Obama's task force reported in 2009 that the Volt, quote, will likely be too expensive to be commercially successful in the short term, end quote. But it didn't cancel the project because, we've got plenty of money. Driving this piece of garbage will net you 25 to 50 miles in moderate driving conditions. In other words, if you have a 70 or 80 mile round trip to work, much of it will be spent using gas, and if you live in the Midwest or liberal Northeast, it's doubtful that you'll be able to drive this in winter at all. If everyone lived in Southern California, had a relatively short trip to work with no adverse weather conditions or steep hills, or was able to charge it while at work, the electric car could succeed. Alas, most people do not have that option. This car isn't even an electric car. The gasoline engine has been found to be more than a range extender for the battery. Volt engineers are now admitting that when the vehicle's lithium-ion battery pack runs down and at speeds near or above 70 miles an hour, the Volt's gasoline engine will directly drive the front wheels along with the electric motors. That's not charging the battery, that's driving the car. We heard GM's then CEO Fritz Henderson claim the Volt would get 230 miles per gallon in city conditions. Popular Mechanics found the Volt to get about 37.5 miles per gallon in city driving, and Motor Trend reports, quote, without any plugging in, a weekend-long trip to Grandma's house should return fuel economy in the high 30s to low 40s, end quote. Car and Driver reported that getting on the nearest highway and commuting with the 80-mile-an-hour flow of traffic, basically the worst-case scenario, yielded yielded 26 miles. A fairly spirited backroad loop netted 31, and a carefully modulated cruise well below 60 mile an hour pushed the figure into the upper 30s. Then we have the problem of charging it, as I mentioned earlier. A July 26th AP report revealed a chicken and egg problem in President Obama's push for electric cars. Only a few hundred public chargers exist, making it difficult for electric car drivers to venture further away from their home or get caught in traffic. AP reporter Joel Schechtman quickly noted that the lack of chargers is a fear that automakers must overcome, and reassured readers that help from the government, taxpayers of course, is on the way. Only a few public chargers exist now, but several government taxpayer-funded grants totaling more than $115 million will help add thousands more, including in San Diego, Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Bellevue, Washington. Schechtman reported that Obama has set a goal of 1 million electric cars by 2015, but that there will only be an estimated 16,000 public charging stations by 2012. Additionally, he noted that it would take nearly 8 hours to charge a car at a public charging station, and that even a partial charge would take up to 2.5 hours. So if you've got time to burn, maybe go shopping. That's neither practical or convenient, and Schechtman had to concede that the electric cars only fill a certain niche but aren't for everyone. Quote, I would not recommend this car for road trips, end quote, said Nissan spokeswoman Catherine Zachary. She also added, we see this as a city car, a commuter car. So if you're driving it in adverse winter conditions, no. If you're taking a long vacation, sorry. I should also ask, when you charge this car, are you plugging it into a windmill, or is that energy coming from coal, natural gas, or an evil nuclear power plant? Unless environmentalist kooks think coal is a renewable energy source now. No conspiracy killed the electric car, even with lavish subsidies and sky-high gasoline prices in Europe, most of it via consumption taxes. It's still a failure. This from the UK Sunday Times back in December 2008. Sales of electric cars have fallen by more than half this year, according to figures released 2 days after the government's Climate Change Advisory Body predicted a huge increase. Only 156 electric cars were sold from January to October 2008, compared with 374, a whopping 374 for the same period last year. The Committee on Climate Change said on Monday it expected electric and hybrid vehicles to form up to 40% of cars on the road by 2020. There are about 1,100 all-electric cars currently on British roads, 0.004% of the total. Most are owned by Londoners and are quadricycles, not fully type-approved cars. Congestion charge concessions for all-electric vehicles helped to create the market, but drivers have since opted for new small diesel cars with very low carbon emissions. The electric car is not a new idea. It has been around for a long time and has always met the same fate. It is not affordable, it is not really green, and is certainly not something consumers want. If consumers did want it, it wouldn't need subsidies. Even Jean Sirota, the former French energy industry regulator, came to the conclusion that electric cars are a dud. His report suggests that the traditional evil combustion engine, powered by evil petrol, diesel, ethanol, or new biofuels, still offers the most reliable prospect of developing cleaner vehicles. Carbon emissions and fuel consumption could be cut by 30 to 40% simply by improving the performance and efficiency of traditional engines. New so-called stop and start mechanisms can produce further 10% reductions that can rise to 25 to 30% in cities. Enhancements in car electronics, as well as the development of more energy-efficient tires, such as Michelin's Energy Saver technology, are also expected to help reduce consumption and pollution. Overall, the Sirota report says that adapting and improving conventional engines could enhance their efficiency by an average of 50%. It also argues that new generation hybrid cars combining conventional engines with electric propulsion could provide an interesting future alternative. By combining electric batteries with conventional fuel-driven engines, cars could run on clean electricity for short urban trips while switching over to fuel on motorways. This would resolve one of the biggest problems facing all electric cars, the need to install costly battery recharging infrastructures at taxpayer expense. The report warns that the overall cost of an all-electric car remains unviable at around double that of a conventional vehicle. Battery technology is still unsatisfactory, severely limiting performance in terms of range, both range and speed. The electricity supply for these batteries would continue to come from mostly fossil sources. So there you have it, folks. The advent of the electric car via the Chevy Volt is nothing new. This has been come and gone many times, and the Chevy Volt's not an electric car. It's an overglorified, very pricey hybrid. But I'm sure, and as I've said before, all liberal ideas require someone else's money. And the Chevy Volt, if it is to succeed and be in almost every household, you're basically going to have to subsidize the heck out of it, even more so than they already are. And even then, people probably won't want it. So the electric car, the Chevy Volt, still a bad idea, but I'm guaranteeing that the funding will continue for it. Have a nice day, and don't thank me now.